introduction here. Do we have to hit something here? A button?
Do we have to hit the button?
Yeah, maybe.
Got it? Is that the one we hit?
Yeah, just tap the one on the screen, I believe. If you would, please, Brenda. Oh, there he is. Hello, hello. Come join us.
To see everything.
Okay. All right, we have Randy with us. Yeah, I'll wait till both of you have a chance to sit down. And we are ready to go. Hey, Gariana, I think we'll get started now. Thank you so much. Randy, we're going to kind of take you through our formal introduction because hopefully you'll be a member of one of our committees. So I'm going to begin. And the way we start, Randy, is good morning and welcome. That this is the Outreach and the Community Engagement Standing Committee of CAB. We will then set the table for board members and for those in the audience, such as yourself, with some housekeeping items. For those in the public, which you are, and in person, you may comment when called upon. For those on Zoom, please keep your participation on mute until called upon. In your case, you can be live, Randy. For those calling in on the phone, please use *6 to mute and again *6 to unmute. We will hear comments from the board. That'll be the 4 of us here first, and then you will hear comments from the public. That is by raising your hand if you would. Our purpose, and let's talk about OCEC, is to assist CAB in gathering and providing information pertaining to the county's efforts in criminal justice reinvestment. Let's now talk about some of our responsibilities. Those are to identify outreach methods to engage the community regarding initiatives related to public safety realignment. We want to provide membership cultivation and succession planning for CAB. And it's so appropriate that you're visiting us today, Randy, because you're going to be part of that succession planning, and hopefully you'll be able to assist CAB. And finally, we are here for OCEC, which is Outreach and Community Engagement, is to nurture CAB's ambassador program. And hopefully you will consider joining this particular committee. And we do want to point out that our ambassador program is really the key in our efforts to reach key decision makers in the county. We talk with supervisors, we talk with agency heads, and I've got to look to my right. Scott has done a fabulous job in setting up our toolkit so that when you join OCEC, I'm getting a plug in here, Randy. When you join OCEC and Reverend Van Hook here and Brenda, we have something laid out for you so that when you meet with an ambassador or pardon me, with a city official or a county official or a agency head, you don't have to get nervous. It's the old story. We've got a script for you. You can follow it if you want. Once you get comfortable with that script, then you can kind of do it. What's the best way to say it? Not quite by the seat of your pants, but almost. So that's kind of the way we've got this set up. And again, we want to make things easier for those who are members of CAB. So now let's get to work here. We're going to first get to introductions. Let's start with you, please, Scott.
All right. Thank you for those kind words, by the way. So my name is Scott Parsons. I'm a resident of Moraga and representing Central County.
Reverend Van Hook.
Hello, I'm Reverend Julius Van Hook, and I am representing West County.
And good morning, I'm Crawford Carpenter. I live in Danville and I represent, what county? Central County. I'm just kidding. I should cut that out. Okay, that's right. This is an official board meeting. Brenda.
Hi, I'm Brenda Lee. I'm also a resident of West County, representing West County.
Okay, now before we go to other members, let's go to Garyana, who's staff. Would you please introduce yourself, please, Garyana?
Yes, hello, good morning. My name is Garyana Youngblood and I'm with the ORJ.
Thank you. And then now let's go to you, Randy. Would you introduce yourself?
Morning, everybody. My name is Randy Reyes, and I'm here for the informal interview for the Community Advisory Board position.
So nice to have you. And ma'am?
Chaplain Alexandria Spearman, and I am a member of the chaplaincy department for probation department.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Wonderful. Thank you.
juvenile intake.
Oh, juvenile. Okay. All right, let's then go to the next item here, which happens to be announcements. Are there any announcements that anybody, first of all, in the room has to make? Let's go around the room. Reverend Scott, okay, we're clear. Any other announcements? Randy? Any announcements?
None over here.
Okay, good. I'm just kidding you. You know, hey, this is supposed to be serious today. We'll get serious here. Okay, now let's move to any public comment. Do we have any public comment on any item under the jurisdiction of the Community Advisory Board and perhaps is not on our agenda? All right. Seeing and hearing none, we'll move to item number 3 on our agenda. And item number 3 is the approval of the minutes from the October 17th, 2023 meeting. And if you'll go to attachment 1, I'll assume now that everybody has read attachment 1. And then now I will ask for a vote on the agenda items or for the minutes from October 17th. Do we have a motion to approve?
I so moved that we approve those minutes as documented here in our agenda.
Thank you, Scott. Do we have a second?
I'm Brenda Lee. I'll second.
Thank you. We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? No discussion being heard nor seen. Can we call the vote? Now, there's a way to call it that Jill helped us out, correct, Garyana? How is that? Let's try that new method.
Okay, perfect, Crawford. All in favor? Please raise your
Aye.
hand.
Aye.
Sorry, all in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you. Wow, we're rolling here today. Well, can we go back now? I don't think we need the agenda on the screen. Can we go back to Mr. Reyes or to Randy? And Randy, this is going to kind of be an interesting, hopefully, experience for you. All of my colleagues here are easy to deal with. So this ought to be an interesting, as I said, experience. Randy, why don't we start with briefly tell us, just tell us about yourself. Give us an elevator speech, and then we will have some questions for you again after your elevator speech.
Thank you, Crawford. Yes, once again, my name is Randy. I am currently a resident in Pleasant Hill. And ultimately, one of the reasons that brought this application in is because I currently am working in the reentry space in Oakland. I'm working at a nonprofit called Impact Justice. And I'm on a specific team where we basically provide housing, temporary housing for returning citizens. But my passion goes deeper than just helping out the community. It ultimately comes down to being formerly incarcerated. So I do have that lived experience of what it means of re-entry. Very, very briefly, I grew up in the Bay Area. I grew up in San Francisco. And I left at 18 years old. I was incarcerated at 18 with a life sentence. It wasn't until 2016 where I stepped back into the community, and literally I had to rebuild my life from the ground up. I paroled with some family, but ultimately I did have support. But I remember that time of fear, confusion, frustration. I had an idea like of what to prepare for, but once you really face the world for what it is, and that's where like, okay, that's where the life lessons started to come upon. And I've been on that reentry journey for 7 years now. And I feel like it's been a lot of success. There's been obviously challenges, but it's been a period of growth and maturity. And ultimately, I'm in a phase of my life where I want to give back and make sure if there's any reentry programs or services being available to the community, to the public, I want to make sure they're compassionate, because that's like one of the things I um experienced in the past, where I feel like people were genuine. They just weren't listening to me. I felt like I wasn't being heard. But ultimately, I just want to be in a position of being of service to those that are returning from incarceration.
Wow. I don't think I have any more questions. I'm done. No, let's go.
Yeah.
Whoa. Let's start ladies first.
Okay.
Brenda, do you have any questions for the gentleman, for Randy?
He answered all the questions I had on my piece of
Yeah,
paper.
that was-
I'm like, oh, well, he
Yeah.
answered that. Okay, but I do have one. Okay, so have you attended any of the commission or board meetings in our county?
I have.
If so, which ones?
Oh no, I said I haven't.
Oh, hadn't, okay. Okay. And also, what are your strengths in working in a group setting?
In a group setting, as in like with the community or with the public, or
A group. It could be public, it could be this committee, any committee. As a group setting, what do you feel are your strengths working in a group setting?
well, ultimately, I am a team player. I mean, in order to get things done, we're all gonna have to tap into each other's strengths and at the same time bounce off ideas, because there's never gonna be one solution. Ultimately, it really comes down to a, a a plethora of ideas that should be brought together in a group setting. But ultimately, I work well in a group.
Okay, fine. Reverend Van Hook, do you have any questions
Yes,
for this gentleman?
Thank you so much for sharing, Randy. And you said that you I'm familiar with Impact Justice. I've done some work with them with the Interfaith Council of Contra Costa County. Do you reside in Contra Costa County? You just work with Impact Justice? You work with their Oakland programs or their Contra Costa programs?
Well, I reside in Contra Costa, but I'm on a team. It's called the Homecoming Project, and ultimately, we're providing services to Alameda County, but we are slowly branching out to Contra Costa. So I'm more familiar with all the reentry services in Alameda, but as we're slowly to branch out, I'm beginning to get a better understanding of what's going on in Contra Costa.
One more follow-up question. Did you work with Rhonda?
Yes, Rana was we were on the same team, but unfortunately, she left the organization though.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Scott, do you have any?
Oh, I have a few.
A few, please.
So. Randy, if you could tell me, your three top ability, skills, or attributes.
The first one I'm going to go with is public speaking. I feel like over the years, I've been able to feel very confident and honed my voice, and as well as a message. I feel like the words you choose should have an impact on the way people think and feel. Because ultimately, if there's like issues going on, and if somebody's passionate about it, they should speak on as in what's going on, as well as solution to it. And I feel like over the years, I've developed that voice, and I feel very comfortable in public settings to, to talk in a large group. My second skill, what will probably be, I'm going to say my lived experience, because I can speak intimately about certain details that might resonate with certain individuals. I mean, when we're talking about reentry, when we're talking about services, um, I remember when I was across that table and asking for services. So as a member of the community and going on that journey, and I understand like what it takes and what it involves, but at the same time, I want to give my own personal experience to show that this what's currently in development or this what can be changed ultimately to like enhance services. And I think one of the last things I would probably um, bring up is my professional experience because I'm currently where I'm currently working at Impact Justice. I'm the reentry specialist, and one of my duties is to identify those resources within the community to enhance collaboration with partners, whether it's nonprofits, whether it's city or county. But ultimately, when it comes to providing services, it's going to take a community effort, and I'm definitely understanding the parts of that.
Okay, so work experience, lived experience, public speaking. Very good. So I have one more question, if I could. Randy, what would you say has been your greatest accomplishment in your life?
The greatest accomplishment would be understanding that we have the power of choice. And the reason why I bring that up is because for a long time, I used to blame circumstances, I used to blame the environment of my choices. But as I matured, as I grown, as I did that inner work, I started to realize there's always choices that are in front of us. And it's ultimately upon us to choose the right choice that's going to better our lives. And I feel like once I made that connection, then I started to see a lot of growth from that.
Um, I have no other questions at this point.
Wow. Good, good. Okay, Randy, now I guess I'm on deck, or what is it? I'm in the batter's box again here. So I'd like to start with just to verify you do live in Pleasant Hill, or did I misinterpret that from your application? So you're a resident of Pleasant Hill.
Yes, correct. I pretty much paroled to Contra Costa County in 2016, and I've been here since.
Wonderful. The next item, could you please share why you want to see more compassion and empathy for those seeking services? You mentioned that in your application. If could you just spend a moment sharing that with us?
No, absolutely. So part of my day to day at work is talking to those reentry folks, going to provider meetings, going to PAC meetings, and so forth. And obviously, there's certain themes that pop up, but one of the things I hear frequently is individuals feeling like nobody cares where they're coming from based on their background. And I've learned over the years that when somebody has like genuine interest for the well-being of others, you're able to establish that rapport building. You're able to establish trust. And when a person feels like they've been heard, like they're going to be more receptive to the the guidance and the services that are being provided, because all it takes is one person to have a bad experience, and then they're going to just shut their mind off to what's available when it comes to resources. And when if someone were to shut it off, that pretty much means like they can go down a bad path. So ultimately, when it comes down to more compassion, more empathy, it really comes down to just connecting with the people that are coming through the door.
Okay, let me write it. Another question, 1 second here, please. On your application, you indicated that you currently work for Impact Justice. And you indicated there that they have innovative ideas for justice reform. Might you share 2 of those innovative reforms? Impact those, regarding justice issues.
Well, one of the one of the things I could hit on it would be the housing component. Um, Ultimately, I'm sure as everyone knows, it is very expensive living in the Bay Area. And then when you take into account somebody being released from incarceration after a lengthy sentence, ultimately they're going to be behind. They're not going to have any money saved up. They're not going to have a job waiting for themselves. So ultimately, they're going to need assistance. So with this program, instead of warehousing people, because there's a lot of organizations out there, they have contracts, with the city, with the county, with the state, where they pretty much throw at least like 2 or 3 people into a room. I've been to those type of facilities and it kind of mimics confinement. So with our motto is instead of warehousing individuals, we find members of the community that have an extra room in their house. And then the program will lease that room for 6 months. And then we'll go through like a matching phase where we try to match our participants with that community member, as we call a host. And ultimately, it's a community-based model where we'll provide that case management, we'll provide resources along the way. And we've obviously, I've only been there like less than a year, but my predecessors before me, they've actually proven the model works. Every individual that goes to the program, pretty much when they complete it, they leave with full-time employment, they leave with savings, and they're most of them go into permanent housing. So I would say that's one innovative approach. And another innovative approach would be to identify those gaps of services that are being implemented currently when it comes to reentry. So I'll use Alameda County for example. So the majority of services in Alameda County revolve around workforce development, housing, and like substance abuse treatment. So with Impact Justice, we try to do programs where no one's pretty much touched upon. So one of the things I identified was this emotional roller coaster that returning citizens go through when they are originally coming out. They're overwhelmed, they're confused, they're not too sure what they should be doing. So one of the programs that I'm currently working with my day-to-day task is to provide informative classes that actually tackle the current challenges and barriers that reentry folks are going to face. They're currently being rolled out in virtual classes, but ultimately it really comes down to just providing a gap of services.
Well, thank you very much. You indicated finally, and I'll just have this final question for you, in your application, that as a returning citizen, you encountered many challenges with reentry. Would you be kind enough to share maybe 1 or 2 of those challenges?
Okay, I can speak upon the financial component. um, Prior to being incarcerated, I did not have any type of financial history, so I've never opened a bank account. I've never had a credit card. So, as I'm in this reentry journey in the very beginning, eventually, like had, once I collected my documents, I started to apply for financial assistance. And I remember someone telling me after they did a credit check, they told me, it's like, yeah, it seems like there's nothing there. It seems like you're a ghost. And then that's when it dawned on me that I have a lot of work to do when it comes to building a healthy financial history. And I started to go through those changes, make a lot of small loans, make sure I pay attention to my credit score, be aware of my needs and habits and my spending, my monthly spending. But ultimately today, like over the years, I was able to build a good financial history to the point where like they see it in black and white now over the years through the excellent payment history, the length of credit and so forth. So coming in, like I was financially illiterate when I was released, but spending the time and learning those challenges and making sure I don't get frustrated along the way because it was frustrating. But ultimately, I put in the work and I learned from how the process, what it takes, and ultimately, I'm in a better financial standing today as opposed to 7 years ago.
Randy, thank you, thank you. This has been, I just think, wonderful hearing from you. Now, one more item here for you, Randy. We have another person in the room who's not a member of the board. Would you care to ask Randy any questions?
Randy, I don't have a question. I'd rather have a comment.
Please do.
I'd like to just appreciate you for your authenticity, your vulnerability, and just affirm the length you've gone and the determination and persistence for your own life and your return to sharing with the community what you've learned and gained is honorable. And I think it's a wonderful that you're doing this work and pushing yourself forward to do it more now where you live. And I just appreciate you in this space and for being here. Like, yes. And the emotional you've grown through to name and process your feelings. I'm a chaplain, so I'm like, that has shown how well your process is working for you, right? So yes. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Randy,
you.
do you have, yes, again, so appreciate you taking the time to visit with us, being patient while we get you into our system and in the queue to being interviewed, etc. Do you have any final comments for us or anything else you'd like to share? Or better yet, ask of us, because then I'd like to share one or two other things with you. Do you have anything you would like to ask of us?
More of just like some final comments. Ultimately, I'm a man of service. I give a lot of appreciation to all the help I've received in the past. And ultimately, the way to make sure that things are always improving is to always pay it forward. And I'm in a position now that I'm very thankful of what I received in the past, but now it's all about giving back. And ultimately, if it means sharing my story, giving my personal opinion, sharing ideas to help, whether ideas for success, ultimately really comes down to letting people know that change is possible. Hope should never, that light of hope should never be extinguished. And I'll go anywhere I need to do to share my story, to share what I've learned, just to make sure other people know that success is possible.
Wonderful. I would like to share with you now, just and we'll call this kind of some of the housekeeping things that we do. Number one, we have a CAB general meeting, which is the second Thursday of every month at 10 a.m. Would that be a meeting based on your work schedule that you would be able to attend, because we have provisions in our guidelines where you have to attend X amount of meetings, but more important, we really want you to attend all of them, because when you miss the meetings, you're kind of missing the flow of where we're trying to go, and it would be helpful. So I wanted to give you that date again, the second Thursday of the month at 10 a.m. Now, this is biased. I gotta say that right up front. OCEC, that's this committee right here. We meet every third Tuesday of the month. And that's probably the most important meeting of all the standing committees of CAB. I'm saying that tongue in cheek. But I wanted to make sure if you desire to participate in one of our standing committees, you have to participate in one. OCEC meets the third Tuesday of each month at 11 o'clock. And then let me go to one of the other committees that you had shared some information regarding, which was Programs and Services. Programs and Services meets the third Thursday of the month at 11 o'clock. Again, the third Thursday. And then finally, what is it? What's the best way to put this? We have a drink, and Programs and Services stirs the drink. And then we have Policy and Budget, they have to consume the drink with all the information that they get from OCEC, from programs and services, policy and budget. They deal on the financial end. And they meet on the third Friday of each month at 11 o'clock. So I just wanted to make sure from an availability standpoint that we share those dates and have an opportunity to kind of sift and winnow on those dates. When you step back and our next meeting, what is in December, and hopefully regardless of whether you are approved or not by CCP, we would still want you to, well, would like you to attend that meeting. So those are just the housekeeping items I wanted to share with you. So thank you, Randy.
Thank you, Crawford.
Okay. I think we're now, oh, go ahead, please.
Are you ready for a motion?
That's what I'm.
Long enough to know your body language.
Hey, what
All
took you
right.
so long? Come on, Scott.
So I would like to move that we accept Randy Reyes to go forward to the main cab for consideration.
I second that motion, Julius Bannon.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, would you call the vote, please, Gariana?
Yes. All in favor, please raise your hand. Any opposed? Any objection? Abstentions? Hearing and seeing none, motion carries.
Well, congratulations. Step one, Randy. You will go to the full cab board. Hopefully, we will get you on the December agenda for your approval. And then the final step will be, once the full cab board makes a recommendation, you will go to CCP, which is the, Community Corrections Partnership. And you will go there for just hopefully a final approval. So step 1 of 3, thank you very much. We're off to the races. Gariana, may we go to the, okay, thank you. Gariana, may we go to the next budget, to the next item on the agenda?
Yes.
Next steps. Let's go around here. I think we're in pretty good shape regarding next steps. Do you see any? We've already made the motion for Randy to go to the full cab board. Is there anything else for next steps? Yes, Scott.
Well, the only other point I had is what this other candidate isn't gonna be here, is that?
The other candidate is not here, and this is the second time that the individual hasn't been here. Yeah, the lady was Alicia Hastings. From my vantage point, we need to really take a hard look if the individual should be considered in the future. This is the second time.
Oh, yeah,
We
absolutely.
met one time and the individual was on the phone and then dropped off the phone. We tried to reach, well, you remember that we tried to reach the individual. And now, you know, I don't know about, I shouldn't say I don't know about the rest. We all had to go through her application again, and we all prepared with various questions, etc., just as we did for you, Randy. So I would recommend that if the person comes back again, I would ask them to wait another 6 months or a year when their schedule gets a little better, because the mere fact you can't meet our meetings tells me that if you were approved, it would be very difficult for you to meet our regular board meetings and any assigned committee meeting. So that would be my recommendation. I don't know how the rest of you feel.
Well, I think we can safely assume that she's rescinded her interest, but just hasn't told us that.
That's what I would say.
You know, all right, so we'll leave it at that, and the next board, etc., Brenda, etc., and Reverend Van Hook, you can make your decision. How's that for passing the
There you
buck? Okay, all right. Any other next steps, Ariana? And normally we question, is there a need for OCEC to meet in December? It'll be during the holiday period. Just asking Brenda around the table.
Oh, no, December 19th, no.
Okay.
I didn't know it was so close to Christmas. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's so close to Christmas.
All right, Reverend Van Hook.
I'm in agreement with Sister Lee.
Okay, and Mr. Parsons.
Well,
Hello,
we don't
Reverend.
have a quorum. I'll be here drinking Kool-Aid. Yeah, no, I'm all for.
Okay, so then, Garyana, we won't meet right now unless something dire comes
Right,
up.
right.
So this standing committee won't meet, but our full cab meeting, our full cab board will meet in December, and that'll do it.
And we'll bring forward.
Okay, are there any other questions? Let's go around the room. Okay, we'll start with you, Randy. Any questions? And
No questions, just happy holidays to everyone.
okay, and thank you again. Let's go around the room, our outside guests first, before we talk to board members. Any questions?
Oh, questions, no.
Okay, comments. We don't need questions. Anything.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all right, Brenda.
No questions,
anything?
but I do have a
Oh, have
comment.
you
Oh,
said?
Yeah, yes, there you go. No, I'm along with the chaplains. Like, I'm very impressed with his way he presented himself. You know, because when I looked at his application, it didn't give me very much. But listening to him, okay, that brought forth that he would be a dynamic
Oh,
individual for our committee.
Right.
there you go.
I concur with you.
Yes.
Okay, any comments concluding from you, Reverend Van Hook?
No, I just echo what everyone else has already said. It's been great to meet you, Mr. Reyes. And thank you for sharing your story with us. We look forward to doing the work of community advocacy and justice with you.
And Scott, or excuse me, Mr. Parsons.
Oh, Scott is fine.
Okay, yes,
Thanks.
Mr. Parsons.
After 40 years of law enforcement, I was called a lot of things.
Never
And
Mr.
it
Parsons.
included Scott or Miss Park. Either one of those.
Any-
So not a thing, sir.
Okay.
Good meeting.
All right, and I don't have any comments other than, happy holidays to everybody. And this meeting is adjourned.
Great.
All right.
Right.
All right.
Wow.
Glad to see
Oh.
all of our.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, we did it.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah.
This was good.
Oh.